USA gets its first win of the Paris Olympics by cruising past Serbia. What did we learn from this game? Kevin Durant is really good at basketball. I think that's something we already knew, but he just continues to prove it. Joel Embiid should not be starting anymore. And Steve Kerr calls himself an idiot, which is accurate. Let's deep dive into this one. What's good, y'all? Welcome to episode 2 of the Deep Dive. Hope everyone had a great weekend. I want to break down this USA men's basketball game because there's just so much that happened. And, they got the win 110-84 over Serbia and Nikola Jokic. And it was a game in which USA started off slow and then they eventually got their footing and got into their groove. And while it was close up until halftime, they were able to break away in the second half. And, we're going to get into all of this. So let's look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of USA's win over Serbia. And we'll start with the good. In case y'all forgot, Kevin Durant is good. Like really good. No, really damn good at basketball. He's just a flat out hooper. And I don't know how else to describe him. And I'm going to say this. I think we just witnessed one of the greatest all-time Olympic basketball performances by arguably the greatest scorer in basketball history. And maybe that's not debatable anymore at this point, right? Especially after what we saw Kevin Durant do in this game. He came off the bench for the first time in his Olympic career on Sunday, and he missed all 5 of USA's exhibition games with a calf strain. And, we didn't get to see him at all in those games, and he only practiced with the team 3 times going into this game. Here he comes off the bench. What does he do? 23 points, including 21 points in the first half. He made his first 8 shots to start the game, including 5 3-pointers. And it was, I don't know what you call it. It's sorcery, it's witchcraft, it's Kevin Durant. It was just incredible to see. And when KD was going off, I don't know if you guys were like me, like were your emotions all over the place, because I was excited. I was getting hyped. I'm clapping my hands in my living room. I'm yelling as KD's knocking down these shots. And then sometimes I'm just sitting back like this, just like shaking my head because I'm just impressed by how easy KD makes the game look. It's pretty remarkable, for a guy, 7-footer. We know KD's been doing this his whole career, right? This is a guy who came into the NBA as a rookie and averaged 20 points, and then his second year went up to 25 points a game. Third year was already averaging 30 points a game, right? We've seen Kevin Durant do this throughout his career, but it's still something about him just coming off the bench. Again, had not played in any games, right? And he proceeds to make his first 8 shots of the game. And I think there was a moment where, KD hit the 3 at the top of the arc. I'm sure you guys remember this one. And he's just smiling after. And it's almost like that look he had where, as if to say, man, this shit's too easy for me. Like, and you just can't help but just laugh with him and just appreciate the greatness, right? Because he did make it look incredibly easy. Knocking down his first 5 threes, the mid-range shots, and then to cap it off, he had that fall-away jumper right before the buzzer at halftime, and it just had you, emotions all over the place. But, that's what KD brings to this team is instant, easy scoring, and we saw them at times, Team USA that is, struggling, right, during their exhibition games to maybe get some offense, and not that they're lacking it, but when KD is on the floor and you have AKD in the game, you get a guy who takes high-quality shots. He rarely forces it. A 7-foot shooting guard, right, who can get his shot off over anybody and is nearly impossible to block. You don't see it happen very often. It's something that Team USA was missing, and in those games that they struggled a bit to close out teams, right, whether it was South Sudan, Germany kind of kept it close. KD was, remember, that missing piece, and they still have plenty of talent without him, of course, but we're talking about, again, arguably the greatest scorer in not only NBA history, but perhaps basketball history. And so, when you see KD just come out there, again, off the bench, it was incredible to see. And anytime you need a bucket, you just give the ball to KD. It's simple. You give him the ball and you get out the way. And One moment I really enjoyed was when KD made his first three. USA comes down on defense, they get a stop, and then Anthony Edwards knocks down a triple. Serbia calls timeout, and Anthony Edwards just gets super hyped. He goes up and daps KD, and that to me was just a special moment for these Olympics early on, and just for basketball fans, right? Because we know KD is Anthony Edwards' favorite basketball player growing up, and now they're playing together. And we know the playoff history they had this year where, Ant was knocking down some shots over KD, giving him buckets and then talking some trash to him. And KD loves it, right? He loves the competitor that Ant is, and he acknowledged that after that game and after that series that they had between the Wolves and the Suns. And so to see those guys hit back-to-back shots, be on the floor together, you can tell that they really mess with each other, both as hoopers and just as people. Just two guys that love to hoop, are extremely talented, two guys that got that dog in them. And it was just a special moment, like I said, for me. And, KD came off the bench in this one because he was on a minutes restriction due to the calf strain that he had been dealing with. But there's no doubt in my mind that Kevin Durant will be starting in USA's next game against South Sudan on Wednesday. That's definitely an adjustment we'll see right away. Someone who shouldn't be starting for USA on Wednesday, though, someone who is most likely not going to be starting anymore, is Joel Embiid. And this is the bad part of the good, bad, and the ugly. We've all seen enough, and hopefully so has Steve Kerr, because Joel Embiid struggled in this one from the jump. He started off the game with a missed shot, then missed 2 free throws, then he has a turnover. USA goes down early, 10-2. LeBron was able to get a dunk to get some points on the board, but at the 7:18 mark, Steve Kerr calls timeout, and the first sub off the bench is Anthony Davis in for Joel Embiid. What happens after that? A little over 2 minutes later, USA goes up 13-12, and anytime Embiid was not on the floor, USA looked vastly better on both ends. I mean, it was a night and day difference, and it was noticeable by not only myself, but anyone who was watching the game. You could tell that Embiid just looked slower on whether it was the offensive end, the defensive end, running up and down the court. He just seemed very stiff, and we saw this during the exhibition games too. He definitely struggled at times. The one good game he did have was against Germany. And, honestly, I was one of those people that was vouching for him. I thought that Steve Kerr was right to have him in the starting lineup. And that was a big reason for me saying that, was because I liked AD and Bam together off the bench. But I think at this point, after this game that we saw Sunday, where Embiid really, really just did not look good, it's evident now that Anthony Davis needs to be in the starting lineup over Joel Embiid. I mean, of the 10 players that played today for Team USA, Embiid was the only player with a negative plus-minus. He finished as a -9, and his replacement, Anthony Davis, was a team-high +28. Look, I'm not a huge plus-minus guy. I'm not a big analytics guy, but the numbers don't lie, right? And when there's that big of a disparity and you're the only player that finishes with a negative plus-minus, that's not a good sign. So I think not only does Joel Embiid need to be benched moving forward, but I also think he needs to be the third big man in the rotation behind Bam Adebayo, because between Bam and AD, you have two guys that are very versatile on defense, right? They can guard 1 through 5. Both are extremely athletic guys you can throw the ball up to for lobs. They rebound the ball with the best of them. Elite shot blockers, right? Especially what we've seen from Anthony Davis through these first handful of games and in this first one too. They're just better all around on both ends. And I think Team USA cannot afford to have a slow start like they did in this game against Serbia, because when they play South Sudan on Wednesday, a team that nearly beat them in exhibition play, right? We're talking about a game that USA won 101-100. You don't want a slow start against that team, because Sudan is coming forward. They know they can beat the US after nearly doing it once. They beat Puerto Rico on Sunday to get their first win in Olympic history, so they're definitely feeling confident and will be coming into this game against the red, white, and blue looking for blood. So Joel Embiid, he's got to be the third guy in that big man rotation, and I think it's time that Steve Kerr and hopefully his coaching staff also see this and make the adjustment because, like I said, it was night and day when he was on the floor and off the floor. And the team overall had a positive plus minus when Joel Embiid was on the bench. And, you hate to see it because Joel Embiid is a really skilled, really talented player, but it's the Olympics and this is the ultimate competition. Again, you don't want to have a slow start against these teams. They want to get up and down. They want to run up on teams. And it just makes more sense from all perspectives that Anthony Davis is their starting big moving forward. And now for the ugly. There was a lot of controversy about who played and who didn't play today. I already talked about Joel Embiid, but I mentioned that only 10 guys played in today's game. And the 2 guys that did not check in were Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton. 40-minute game. Both guys played a total of 0 seconds in this one. Not even when USA was up big late in the fourth quarter did Steve Kerr think to get Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum in the game. But it shouldn't have taken a big lead for USA to get these guys in the game, right? Because we're talking about, first off, Jason Tatum, one of the game's great players, just won an NBA championship, all NBA guy. We saw the max contract he just got. It's Jason Tatum, right? And then Tyrese Halliburton, one of the best young point guards in the NBA. We know what he does when he's on the court, pushing the ball up, very unselfish player, can knock down shots, and he gets after it on defense too, as does Jason Tatum. And look, I know basketball is a game of matchups, right? So maybe Steve Kerr wanted more of a complementary second unit, which is why he played Derek White, who got about 16 minutes in the game. And look, Derek White was fantastic. Regardless of what Jaylen Brown says about how he should have been in this with this USA team, which he definitely has a fair case for. Derek White is a great complementary player, and he came in this game and he had a couple of really good defensive plays. Recording a couple steals. He had a block, finished as a plus 15 in this game. So Derek White was solid. I'm definitely not knocking him, but again, I mentioned the guys Tatum and Halliburton, right? And how do you not play those guys? Because there was a point in the game where early in the first quarter, Steve Kerr starts making his substitutions, and LeBron's off the court, Stephen Curry's off the court. There's no floor general, no one to run the offense on the floor. Anthony Edwards, more of a scorer, right? We know playmaking is not his strength. It's something he's still working on and getting better at. But why not play Tyrese Halliburton in that time with a second unit? That's literally what he was put on this team for. And Jason Tatum, right? I know Kevin Durant was back in this game. Obviously, you still have LeBron, but Jason Tatum is a 6'9", 6'10" forward. And especially with the way Joel Embiid was struggling in this game, AD picked up a couple of quick fouls. So you could use some more size against this Serbian team that has a lot of size itself. And Steve Kerr said after the game that he felt like an idiot for not playing Jason Tatum. And bro, you are an idiot, not only for not playing Tatum, but for not playing Halliburton, 2 guys you could have used in this game. You got the win, and look, that's the most important thing at the end of the day. USA got the dub. They're 1-0. It works towards their mission of winning the gold medal, right? And I guarantee you, if you asked Tyrese Halliburton and Jason Tatum, they would say, hey, the most important thing is winning. We got the win. And that's what we care about. But on the flip side of that, as guys who are competitors and want to contribute, of course, they would love to be on the court playing with their guys and playing for Team USA, trying to contribute to get this win, right? But Steve Kerr, we talk about great coaches in the NBA, like his name is always thrown around, but what is he doing, right? Whether it's Joel Embiid getting the minutes that he is, Kevin Durant not starting, even though he was on the minutes restriction, there's a case he could have been starting in this game. The 3-guard lineups that Steve Kerr, for some reason, is just in love with, right? We see a lot of times where it's Stephen Curry, Drew Holiday, Devin Booker who started the game, or you'll have Steph, Ant, and Book, or Steph, Ant, and Drew, right? 3-guard lineups, it's like, get some more size on the court. You need size in this Olympics because a lot of these teams are really big. And so Steve Kerr is going to have to make better adjustments moving forward. And it's crazy when you see Eric Spoelstra over there on the sideline as his assistant coach, because Eric Spoelstra is arguably the best coach in the NBA. Definitely a better coach, more proven coach than Steve Kerr. There's a reason he's been in Miami for so long. And, you had people on Twitter saying Spo should be this team's head coach. And seeing how Steve Kerr's kind of handled things through these first few weeks, there's definitely a fair case that Spo should be that guy. So Steve Kerr, he needs to be better for this Team USA if they want to accomplish their goal of winning the gold medal. And he's got to make the adjustments, like I said. He can't be having these strange lineups that he does, and because it could end up costing this team in a moment. But hopefully it doesn't get to that point. And look, I know it must be hard for Kerr and his coaching staff to find minutes for everyone on this extremely talented team, because it is very deep, as we all know. I mean, their second unit is basically another starting five, but they have to figure it out. And it's funny because Warrior fans, Steve Kerr obviously being the head coach of the Warriors, they know what this is like. They've dealt with the ups and downs of their beloved coach, Steve Kerr. And this tweet had me dying earlier. This, Warriors World account said Kerr's giving Tatum the Moses Moody treatment, which if you know, Steve Kerr, for whatever reason, just had it out for Moses Moody, not only this past season, but even in the season prior. So we'll see what lineup changes they make come Wednesday. And I'd be surprised if Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton don't play in this upcoming game. I'm sure he's going to do his best to get them in, if anything, very early on in the first quarter as some of his top substitutions, because I don't think there were any injuries they were dealing with. It was just simply he did not choose to play them. And before I wrap up, I do want to highlight a couple of other guys on this USA squad who just balled out against Serbia. I'm starting with Devin Booker. 12 points, 5 assists. He had a couple of steals, 4 made triples in this one, including a couple early on when USA was making its rally from their early deficit. Book hit a 3. USA comes down, gets a stop. LeBron, forces a pass. It gets stolen. Devin Booker snatches it right back, and then a second later knocks down another triple to get USA back in this game. And, Devin Booker also very underrated, I think, on the defensive side. When he really tries and locks in, he moves his feet really well, and he's able to knock the ball away from guys when they're trying to get by him. And so keep an eye on Devin Booker as you're watching these games. Even though at times, he might struggle with his shot. He didn't today on Sunday against Serbia, but he really, really tries on the defensive side. And I think it's something that you should keep an eye on as you're watching these Olympics and Team USA. And Jrue Holiday, just another great performance by him. 15 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. He made 3 triples in this game too. I talked about this in my first video. Jrue Holiday is just everywhere. You're always going to feel his impact in the game, whether he's scoring or not. He got into the passing lane one time, got the steal, took it all the way in the other end, and then we saw him a couple times flashing to the middle. Had the one play where he hit the middle, Joel Embiid found him, and then Jrue Holiday found a cutting LeBron, who then finished it with a slam. And then LeBron returned the favor to him in the second half, finding him for an open layup under the basket. So Jrue Holiday, another good game. Like I said, he's definitely worthy of that starting lineup position that he has at the 2-guard spot. And then LeBron James, I swear I'm not trying to glaze on LeBron, but this man is not human, I swear. 21 points, 9 of 13 shooting, along with 9 assists and 8 boards. He just continues to dominate at the age of 39. And we saw that play in the second half where he stripped the ball from the Serbian player, took it coast to coast, finished through the contact, and just had the whole crowd, the whole bench hyped. It was just another LeBron moment. And I know LeBron's been playing since the United States got independence in 1776, but he's still been unstoppable since then. 39 years old or 80 years old or whatever he is. It's been great to see. And as we're watching these games, all of us, we need to appreciate not only LeBron, but Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry, those guys individually, and then those 3 guys as a trio sharing the court together, because this is the only time we're going to see this happen, is these Paris Olympics. You're talking about LeBron, who many consider the GOAT, Stephen Curry, who's the greatest shooter of all time, and Kevin Durant, who I said is maybe the greatest scorer of all time. You're talking about 3 GOATs in their respective rights, playing together on the highest level in the Olympics, going for gold for Team USA. Don't take this lightly. Don't take it for granted. Wake up early to watch these games whenever they're on, and just watch Team USA in their pursuit of gold, because it's going to be special watching these 3 guys perhaps play in the Olympics for the last time. So appreciate these guys, enjoy these games, and thank you guys again for tuning in to the deep dive. This was episode 2. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to always dive off the deep end. Peace.